And welcome everyone to another edition of the FTW Podcast. My name is Garvin. Tonight, I am with Rob. Say hello, Rob.
Hey.
And we're also here with the live chat hooligans in the live chat here at FTWLive.com to talk about TNA Final Resolution. It's this Sunday. We just saw Impact live. A lot to talk about after tonight. So before we get to that, first, if you're listening through iTunes, YouTube, through your favorite podcast player, make sure to check out FTWpodcast.com for more information about us and how to get involved in these live chats that we'll be referencing tonight. We've also on Twitter and Facebook. You can reach us there. And for those listening live here tonight on FTWLive.com, thanks again for joining. We actually had a live chat throughout the entire Impact. It was a lot of fun. Quite a few people in there. But let's get right into it, Rob. Impact tonight. We're only going to be here for about an hour, so let's quickly just run through what happened tonight that impacts Sunday. What's the one thing on your list that you want to talk about tonight?
Outside of the matches, which we're going to get to in a second here, the two big things that really stood out to me from the show was we found out what happened to Al Snow, sorta, and we saw the return of Velvet Sky in what was her saving a very bad promo by Mickie James and Tara. Velvet comes out and promises that 2013 is going to be her year. I'm hoping that TNA actually delivers on that.
Yeah, I would like that too, but do you think having her come out tonight was kind of a waste? Like, it seemed like that's a big thing, and for her to just, come out and interrupt Mickie James, who is saying, hey, I'm going to get the title, just for Velvet Sky to say, hey, I'm going to get the title later, it just seems kind of weird. It seems like it would have made more sense to have that happen at the pay-per-view, maybe after the Mickie James versus Tara match for the title.
That's when I would have done it. To me, the whole segment seemed odd. I mean, Mickie James came out and starts, thanking the fans and going on about how glad she is to be back. That would have made for a fine segment by itself. But you bring Tara out, and I hate to say it, but this gimmick that they're trying to force Tara into, she sucks at it. And that's evidenced every time you hear her talk. She's horrible when she gets on the mic or when she has to talk about the gimmick that she's doing right now. She's, if you want Tara to be a heel, she can be a heel, but you can't have her kind of in the stupid power couple gimmick that they're trying to force her into.
Yeah, and that's it. It seems forced, and we all like Tara. We think she's great, like a great wrestler, but this just doesn't fit. I'd rather just see her wrestling, not necessarily talking in this fashion. I mean, I've always liked her on the mic, but this it doesn't fit her.
Yeah, she can do the heel, but she's one of those rare wrestlers who can be both a face or a heel. But she's got to have the right gimmick to go along with it, and teaming her up with what's his name? Jesse Goddard yes, thank you. Man, so stupid I don't even acknowledge his name. Teaming her up with him is dragging her down. It just doesn't work. So the segment was already starting to go downhill by the time Velvet Sky came out. Having said that, and being as big a Velvet Sky fan as I am, I have to agree with you. I do think they rushed. I think TNA was like, holy crap, we got Velvet Sky back. we've got to send her out.
Yeah, and, overall, I'm not against this match, this Tara versus Mickie James match. I think it's going to be a good match. I think it's going to be good for the knockouts. But to have Velvet then come out and almost like overshadow that match, it just seemed odd. Yeah, Velvet got the biggest pop out of the three of them, the biggest reaction of the three of them, and
yeah,
I don't know. I would have rather seen that later on, but let's not sit on that all night. Obviously, we're going to see Tara versus Mickie James. Maybe Velvet Sky is going to get involved in some fashion. Who knows? But I'm more looking forward to the following Impact or the following couple weeks of Impact to see what they do with Velvet Sky. All right. So, what else is on your list from tonight that you wanna talk about?
Well, we kind of called it. With the television title match, when we were looking for a scenario where they could book Devon versus Samoa Joe for the TV title, both here and in the pay-per-view, we kind of called it in that shenanigans leads to Devon winning, and then they have the rematch at the pay-per-view. Well, half of that happened. We had Devon win by shenanigans, but it turns out that they're not going to do the rematch for the TV title right away.
Sure.
The pay-per-view seems to be another TV event where the TV title will take time off. Eventually, TNA has to realize that if you want to run the TV title gimmick, every time you're on TV, you have to put the belt up for defense.
Well, all right, but technically a pay-per-view is not TV, so they kind of have some leeway there. It's just that when they are on TV and when the TV title's not on Impact, that's where it gets weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, that it was basically
they didn't defend the TV title last week. They're not going to defend it at the pay-per-view.
Sure.
So.
Well, the reason why they're doing it is because Devon's involved, and when Devon was TV champion, they never followed that rule. At least past the first 2 or 3 months. So,
yeah.
But yeah,
they do it intermittently.
This is the scenario that we expected. It was the only one that made sense to have Devon win, so that Samoa Joe would face him. But that's not what we're getting, which is okay. We're also getting another match that we were speculating on this week on the FTW podcast, and that was basically Team TNA versus Aces and Eights, Angle, Bischoff, and Wes Briscoe against Aces and Eights. But now there's the addition of Samoa Joe and Devon to the mix, which again,
and not just any Samoa Joe, an incredibly pissed off Samoa Joe.
Yeah, and again, I mean it's. Of course, I'd like to see Samoa Joe versus Devon again for the title, but I can wait for that. I think doing this match makes more sense considering what else happened. Hold off Devon versus Samoa Joe until next week's Impact.
Yeah,
and I think that'll be a better story.
Yeah, I'm not going to criticize TNA for not defending the TV belt at the pay-per-view because we're finally starting to see some movement on the Aces and Eights storyline. As well as some other storylines that TNA is running. So if TNA is in a spot where they're saying, hey, we've only got 2 hours a week, we're trying to start moving these storylines, that means sometimes we might take a week off and not defend the TV title. I'll grumble about it, but I'm happy that they're advancing storylines, which to me is the more important part.
Yeah, and that's basically how it's going to be. Until next year. Next year is when they're going to be dropping those 2 pay-per-views, and they will have more time to actually, allow some build and more TV titles on the line, kind of thing. I think, I think overall, I'm okay with what they're doing. But another thing that I made a note of was that the Chavo Hernandez versus Matt Morgan and Joey Ryan match is now official. Both teams basically said on tonight's show that's what's happening. So that's a match I'm looking forward to, only because I want to see what's going to happen with Chavo. But we can get more into that. And then the other big thing, for me at least, was the X Division #1 contendership match. We have Kenny King defeating Kid Cash and Zema Ion to be the new #1 contender for the X Division title. This is fantastic because
Jesus Christ, that man put on the match of the night.
Yeah, it was a great match, but we're finally going to get to see Kenny King, in a solid title race. It started basically tonight after he was thrown to the side last week, and we're going to get into predictions here, but I think overall this match is a lot better, as far as Kenny King versus RVD than I think RVD could have put on with the other two guys, and that's just me though.
Yeah, I agree with that, and like I said, to me this was the match of the night. Kenny King, Kid Cash, Zema Ion, they all stepped up their game, but I mean, I don't know what the hell Kenny King's been doing when he wasn't on TNA, but he damn sure has been in the gym training or fighting in smaller indie rinks, because he was on target with a lot of the stuff. His timing was great. His kicks, I mean, actually watching him in action really has me excited to see him match up against RVD, another guy who's known for really lethal kicking power. I have high hopes that it might actually be a pretty good matchup between the two of them.
Yeah, for sure. Again, out of the combination options we had, I like this the best. So I definitely like how they went with this. One last thing before we push forward, and that is officially Bully Ray versus Austin Aries was booked kind of in a weird scenario. Hogan didn't want to book the match, so Bully took the show over, then Austin took the show over, then Hogan came out and said, no, you guys aren't having the match, even though they both want the match and everyone wants this match. So it took Brooke dropping Bully's real name, Mark, to finally get Hogan to say, okay, maybe I'll do it. What?
Yeah.
What is that?
And my big problem with that is that part of the segment comes not 2 minutes after he just said, every time I've stepped into this ring for the past 30 years, it hasn't been personal. It's been all business. So you make that big grand statement saying, I've never let this get personal. And now all of a sudden you've just decided to throw that away. I mean, the only thing I can come up with is, either Bully Ray did a hell of a job of selling it, or Brooke actually made a mistake, because Bully's reaction when she used his real name was priceless.
Yeah, I thought she just tripped up. I wasn't looking at the screen at the time, and I just heard it. I'm like, did she just botch Bully's name? But then they explained what was going on. It was just, yeah, I was reacting pretty much the same way, I think.
Yeah, the first time I heard it, thank God for satellite TV, I had to rewind it and see it, because the first time I heard it, I'm like, did she actually screw up? Oh, okay, well, maybe they're running a storyline with that, okay.
However, that does answer the question of what do you do with Bully Ray now that he's not a bully, now that he's a nice guy? You give him his real name.
Yes, that's true. We do know the name for face Bully Ray, and sadly, it won't be Buddy Ray.
Yeah, I was really hoping for Buddy Ray, but you can't have everything. All right, so Impact. There was the Go Home show. I thought it was probably one of the better Impacts that we've had in the last couple of months, let alone the best go-home show that we've had before pay-per-view in a long time. Do you agree with that?
Yes. Tuesday I was very critical on TNA about how, the shows had been going down recently after we'd been giving it so much praise. And TNA really seems to have changed that. They really seem to have corrected what was wrong. I mean, we had great matches. We had movement forward on our storylines. They did a good job of pushing the pay-per-view. Everything TNA needed to hit, they were hitting tonight. There were a few segments that didn't really work. The knockout segment kind of, but all in all, it didn't really detract from the quality of the whole show.
Yeah.
So all in all, it really stepped up, and we'll go more into this to Impact next Tuesday too.
Yeah, and again, for everyone who's listening, we're not going to spend a whole much more time on Impact itself. We're going to go in depth on Impact next Tuesday on our regular FTW podcast show. So instead, let's move on to Final Resolution. That's what we're all here about. That's obviously what they were trying to build tonight on Impact. So real quick, I'm just going to read the card as it stands right now. Maybe there might be a change, but right now we have 8 matches. So we have the X Division Championship match, RVD defending against Kenny King. We have we have basically TNA versus Aces and Eights. It's Angle, Garrett Bischoff, Wes Briscoe, and Samoa Joe versus Devon, Doc, probably the guy that we've been calling Armbreaker, and then some other dude. We're also going to get AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels. For the Knockouts Championship, it's going to be Mickie James versus Tara. The TNA Tag Team Championships, Joey Ryan and Matt Morgan are going to challenge Chavo and Hernandez. And for the World Heavyweight Championship, Jeff Hardy defends against Bobby Roode. So let's start off with the X Division Championship match. Kenny King versus RVD. I believe this is RVD's third defense. I want to say it's his third defense. If you count,
I think so.
If you count last week's Impact against Austin Aries. So he's going up against Kenny King. This will be the second week in a row that we've seen Kenny King. We saw him last week in that segment, but we haven't seen Kenny King in months. Is this the opportunity to finally get Kenny King the X Division title, or do you think it's too soon, Rob? Because I know on Tuesday, as it stands, before we knew who RVD was facing, you were pretty adamant that RVD would be retaining. Do you still believe that?
I would like to see Kenny King win. You could do a lot of things with Kenny King as champion. It would be great for the X Division. It could really push things forward. You might even have another Austin Aries in Kenny King. Having said that, I think the fact that we haven't seen him in months kind of says a lot. And unfortunately, I'm going to stay with my pick of RVD to win.
Yeah, I'm fearful that he'll get the Sanjay Dutt treatment, which is he'll be put out there and put on a fantastic match, get a title shot, and then you don't see him again.
Right.
And I'm afraid that that's what they're going to do, because that's what they did to Kenny King before. They brought Kenny King in that tournament to get a contract.
The X Division title tournament to get a contract. And every match Kenny King has put on in TNA, I have yet to see him put on a bad match. But yet TNA, like you said, we haven't seen him for months. So I'd like to see him win the X Division title, but I don't think TNA is going to put the belt on him.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people are with you, Rob. Saying that although we'd all like to see Kenny King hold the title, it's really unlikely just because there has been no build up. But they, like it's being said in the live chat, Nick, he's saying they took the belt from Ion with no build up at all and gave it to RVD. They could do the same thing here with Kenny King, and yes, we need a guy like Kenny King to add excitement to the X division. And this is what I said on Tuesday, and this is what I'm going to say right now. I am going to go with Kenny King because he does add excitement. Everyone wants to see him, fighting every week. With the title, that brings excitement. RVD was just a transitional champion, and he did okay. He brought some recognition to the title, but he's just lame. So you give the title to Kenny King, and that can, hopefully do something good with the X division. So I'm gonna stick with Kenny King, which is what I'm sorry. I'm gonna stick with RVD losing by going with Kenny King.
Okay, well, I agree with everything that's being said, but that requires TNA to agree with us, which they evidently don't. Nick made a great point in that the title was given to RVD with really no build-up, but we were seeing RVD. RVD was on Impact fairly regularly. It's not like RVD disappeared for months, came out of nowhere, and won the title.
Well, yeah, he was there, but he wasn't X Division. That part of it was kind of weird, but
right.
Again,
but
who
was
knows?
Still performing on TV.
Sure. All right, so just to recap, Rob, you're going with RVD. Joe and Lee also were going with RVD to retain. The live chat all want to see RVD drop the title, which I agree, but it doesn't look like everyone is going to pull the trigger on Kenny King just because, it's probably unlikely TNA will make that move, but hopefully they do. So anyways, let's move on to the TNA versus Aces and Eights match. Angle, Garrett, Briscoe, Samoa Joe versus Devon, Doc, Armbreaker, and some random Aces and Eights guy. Maybe the VP, maybe some other guy, who knows. All right, so Lee and myself, we went with Aces and Eights winning because of the possibility that we're going to see some kind of reveal. Either, Garrett's involved with Aces and Eights, or Wes Briscoe's involved. Maybe even Kurt Angle's involved. So we're banking on that. But you, Rob, and Joe are saying that the team of Kurt Angle, Garrett Bischoff, Wes Briscoe, and Samoa Joe are going to win. After tonight, do you stand by your decision?
Well, I actually just changed because Tuesday night I was with Aces and Eights winning, but with the addition of Samoa Joe, and when you consider that the last time there was a team battle like this, it was for Aces and Eights to gain unfettered access to TNA, and they won that battle. I think if you're really going to start developing the storyline and continue to push it forward, I think TNA needs a win here. So I'm going to say TNA ends up winning.
So are you thinking along the lines that there probably won't be a big reveal? Or, I'm sorry, if we look at every Aces and Eights match that there really has been, the Aces and Eights bring out their entourage to basically interrupt the match and cause, or win or a loss. But usually it's a loss via disqualification. So, is that the kind of route that you're thinking, that the TNA is going to win that way?
Right. I could see it going that way, and I believe Joe said pretty much the same thing Tuesday night. Even if we're right and either Garrett and or Briscoe jump ship and join Aces and Eights, Team TNA will probably win via DQ or whatnot when that happens. So, no matter how you slice it, I think TNA is going to technically get the win, even though they might get the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like after what we watched tonight on Impact, it would almost be rushing to rush Wes Briscoe, his turn. It would also rush Garrett Bischoff's turn, just because if Garrett Bischoff is involved, that's really non. I don't know. It wouldn't do anything for me. I don't think it would do anything for the angle. It would just say, hey, here's this awful wrestler now is involved in on the Aces and Eights team. And the same thing for Wes Briscoe. I mean, he wasn't that good either. So,
right. And
I don't know.
I mean, it would definitely behoove the storyline to, even if you're going to have Garrett Bischoff or Briscoe turn at some point, it would benefit the storyline to have that be further down the road. Give the crowd a reason to get behind Garrett and Briscoe as good guys, and then have them turn heel.
Yeah, and the live chat is suggesting that maybe Garrett is in with Devon, because they were pretty good friends beforehand. But I don't know.
They were, and I believe actually that Garrett has gotten at least some of his training at the wrestling school run by Bully Ray and Devon. So he definitely has connections with Team 3D.
Okay, Nick does throw out this idea. If Garrett joins Aces and Eights, he might actually gain some character and become interesting. And, okay, I suppose I could see that. But it just, although I'm not arguing that it would make sense for Garrett to get involved for Garrett. I think that would help him. I just don't see how it would help Aces and Eights. It seems like just a throwaway member just so they can reveal someone. So I know I was pushing hard for this on Tuesday, but I'm almost backing away from that. I think I'd rather see them delay this a bit more. Maybe reveal someone else that, maybe reveal who Armbreaker is or something like that. I think that would be better than trying to rush either of these two guys. But I do think that a Garrett turn or a Wes Briscoe turn would be good eventually. Right. Eventually, so.
Right. But the problem is with a heel turn, you need it to shock the crowd. I mean, think back to some of like the great heel turn. Think back to Hogan's heel turn when he joined the NWO. I mean, you need it so that when the character turns heel, the crowd is shocked and feels that sense of betrayal. It's like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, and another theory that's being thrown out in the live chat is, when Bischoff was basically starting as a wrestler again after the whole, Eric Bischoff angle after he left, Hogan took him under his wing. So it was basically Hogan and Garrett Bischoff basically working together. So to have Garrett turn, that would be a big impact. It's just not now. So I think we can all agree it does make sense, just not now. But I'm going to disagree with you, Rob. I still am going to go with Aces and Eights winning, but through shenanigans of some sort. Maybe not a turn. Okay. Maybe they'll imply that there's some tension there, that maybe someone's turning. But I think overall Aces and Eights will walk out with a win.
We'll see.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have the match that was booked tonight. The match that should have been booked pretty much like 2 weeks ago, which is Bully Ray versus Austin Aries. Booked in such the weirdest scenario that we've seen in a while. It didn't really make any sense for Hogan not to make this match, but whatever. They wanted to play that up. I don't get it. So, but all right. I'm going with Bully. You're going with Bully. Joe's going with Bully. Why don't you think Austin Aries is gonna win this?
As I look at this developing situation, they're really trying to play up Bully Ray as a face. They're really trying to push, this, to push the angle of Bully Ray trying to gain Hogan's trust and everything. And that with the shots that Austin Aries has taken at Brooke Hogan, I think this is a great spot to do it. You have Austin Aries lose this match. It builds Bully Ray as a face. It puts some of that trust between Hogan and Bully Ray, and it allows that storyline to develop further. And now you've got Austin Aries, who's, still like the miniature evil genius pacing around the back room, trying to figure out what his next evil plan is. Oh, that actually sounds kind of interesting now that I say it.
Yeah, I like that scenario. The live chat is saying the opposite. They're saying that Aries will win. That basically Brooke or Hogan, Hulk will come out and distract Bully Ray, or just be out there and be in a position to distract Ray, and then Aries will take advantage. That's a possibility.
It's a possibility, but Aries won the last match.
Right.
To keep the feud going on between the two, I'd say it's Bully Ray's turn.
Sorry, the live chat wants me to say his new name, Marky Ray.
Marky Ray.
Alright, I'll go with it. Marky Ray versus Austin Aries. I think overall, I like both sides. I like where this feud is going. I don't like Brooke's involvement. I don't like Hulk's involvement. But I do like them in the ring together. That being Marky Ray and Austin Aries. And I also like them on the mic together. I think they've both been putting out great promos over the last couple of weeks since they started this whole thing. So I think what they've done with this so far is great. And I just hope that they don't put as much focus as they have been on the Brooke part and the Hulk Hogan part. I think that they can continue to be on the backside for now.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to see the ongoing Hogan family dynamics played down a bit. This is a wrestling show, not a soap opera. Hogan can save that shit for his reality show if it's still running.
Well, I suppose that's a discussion for another time.
And another podcast.
Yeah, we can go off of that. So, anyways, okay. So, we've all got Marky Ray to win this match. Live chat is saying the complete opposite. So, I'm sure we'll be discussing this further on Facebook. So, let's move on though tonight. Also coming up is AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels. Quite possibly the last time we'll see this. Quite possibly the first of many rematches. In a long line of rematches. And I said first, but I meant like first this month. It's going to happen again. Daniels and AJ are going to happen again, and that's okay. I like their matches. Rob, it looks like you're going to side with AJ Styles. Why do you see AJ winning another pay-per-view match against Daniels?
Like I said, depending on how far back you want to go on pay-per-views, Daniels has gotten the edge on him there, but if you're advertising this as the final match to settle once and for all which guy is better, I don't see how you have AJ Styles lose. AJ Styles is probably going to be the second person inducted to the TNA Hall of Fame. Christopher Daniels might not even make the cut. AJ Styles is one of the people who really pioneered the X Division, really lifted it up. He's one of the people, along with Samoa Joe and a few others, who really helped TNA build a solid foundation of their own talent. And overall, if you're going to end the feud, I don't see how AJ Styles doesn't win, considering he still hasn't gotten ultimate payback, really, for the hell that Christopher Daniels and Kazarian have been putting him through pretty much the last half of the year.
Sure. Okay. So if this is, in fact, the last time that they will ever face each other, AJ has to win. But let's be realistic. This isn't the last time, man. They're going to fight again. And I think the direction that they've gone with the whole AJ Daniels storyline, you have to keep the momentum on Daniels. You know, Daniels continues to distract AJ, make AJ look bad, and I think they have to continue that because we don't know where they're going with this whole AJ is losing focus and is not the same guy. This whole story. But if they give AJ the win here, then it's like they're just throwing this out the window, and it's like, oh wait, I've got the focus again. We're all cool. But it's like I would rather them see them take that to the limit and take it to like an actual climax. This match is not the climax. This match is just another spoke in the wheel that defines both of these guys. I think if they don't give Daniels the win here, it's a lost opportunity to tell a really good story and to keep this going.
Possible, but like I said, depending on, I mean, even just focusing on this year, you can go with the AJ losing focus and everything. You can say that's been going on since the beginning of the Claire Lynch storyline, since a little bit before that. It's just started to reach its climax the last couple of weeks when, AJ was in the ring and was really playing up that he was off a step or two. So you can argue that this storyline has kind of reached its climax and is going to end at the pay-per-view. They might give Daniels the win and try to keep the storyline going. If they do that, though, they risk it becoming old, because what's Daniels going to do that he hasn't already done to AJ Styles?
Well, right. I mean, the thing is that let's be honest. I mean, this whole thing has gotten old. It's been old for 2 years now that they continue to fight back and forth, but they continue to put on great matches regardless. But to me, and I'm not saying by any means that I've been a TNA fan as long as you. I know they have a longer history than what I've seen, but it always seems to me, being a recent fan over the last 3 to 4 years, that AJ always seemed to get the better of Daniels. At least in the singles matches, and I know Daniels has won a few matches, sure, but I'm saying just in general, how the storylines have gone, AJ has always been the better guy. I think this is a good opportunity to change it up.
And I can see that argument, but I come back to the same question. You change it up and give Daniels the win. Then what?
Then we have something interesting to go with. I mean, if you give AJ the win, then we've got the same thing that we've had for forever. It seems, at least in my TNA watching. But if you give Daniels the win, and we can see AJ, his character change and do other stuff and go into this like pit that he seems to be falling in as far as losing focus and maybe a possible quote unquote heel turn, that would be a nice change for AJ. It'd be something different. And I think I like that story better than, just the same thing over and over again.
I can see where you're going. I mean, it would be nice to push the AJ Styles losing streak, how his character reacts to that. Heel turn, not so much, because AJ Styles sucks as a heel. I'm sorry, but he's just god-awful. But my problem with the storyline is, after Daniels wins, you've got to have at least one segment where he comes out and gloats. And there's literally nothing that he can say that he's not said before. And I swear to God, if I have to see Christopher Daniels and or Kazarian do that stupid Gangnam dance in the ring one more time, I'm going to hit them in the head with a steel chair.
Well, would you rather see that or the pants they were wearing tonight?
The pants they were wearing tonight.
All right. Okay. So we're mixed, you and I. As a podcast, we are mixed. Joe, you say AJ, Lee, and myself say Daniels. The live chat is pretty much saying Daniels has to win. So not going to call them out, Rob. Anyways, Knockouts Championship. Mickie James comes back, automatically gets a title shot against Tara. Do you like how they've built this up? Outside of the awkwardness of tonight's segment between the two?
No, there's been no build up to this, and I don't know. I don't get how there's no build up to this. Mickie James and Tara have had a huge rivalry. I mean, when Tara first debuted in, pretty much since Tara first debuted in the WWE, her and Mickie James have been rivals. They've carried that rivalry over into TNA. TNA has a wealth of background to build on, and they could try to do something new on it. But they haven't. They haven't given Mickie a stupid boyfriend yet. And God, I hope they don't. If anybody from TNA is listening, do not give Mickie James a stupid boyfriend. But they could have built it a lot better than they have. There's just been no build-up. It's been like, okay, Mickie James is back. We're going to have her win a Battle Royal. And because she won that Battle Royal, she automatically gets a shot at Tara. And we're going to leave it at that. Really?
Yeah.
What is this, the WWE now?
I'm in complete agreement with you, Rob. I think, overall, this match will most likely be pretty epic as far as, knockouts title matches. However, they completely undersold it with whatever they're doing. Tara looks awkward in this whole, gimmick she's doing. And I'm right with you. I would rather them just push their history. They have a history together. Why don't they push that more than what they're doing? I'm in complete agreement. I think that this will be a good match regardless, but Mickie shouldn't be there in this title match. Not now. I think I'd rather see ODB there. I'd rather see Gail Kim there. I mean, I'd rather see someone else who has been there other than, the last 2 weeks. And I think it's a mistake to push Mickie again. But what do you think they're going to do? Do you think Mickie James is going to get that title again? She's going to come back and get the title in her first title shot?
Well, I was, those who were listening Tuesday night when we talked about this, I compared Mickie James, and I basically called her the female John Cena. And I was sure she was going to get the title. Then tonight happened. With Velvet Sky making a return, and with the fact that Velvet Sky was pretty much a face when she left TNA and is very popular with the fans right now, I think it almost makes sense to have Tara keep the title and build up Velvet Sky versus Tara.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't give it to Velvet Sky either. I don't know. They have failed the Knockouts division entirely. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I like that Velvet Sky's back, but I don't know if she really fits where they've placed her.
Bottom line is, Tara's not going to hold the title much longer. If she does not lose it to Mickie James at Final Resolution, I would bet she loses it within a month or two. Probably to Velvet Sky.
All right, that's the route I'm probably going to go. I'm saying that Tara retains. Just because I don't want to see Mickie James come back and get the title right away. I think that's obnoxious and bad booking overall. I'd rather them build it up because they have a history. I think there's a lot more stuff that you can do other than just give Mickie James the title. And realistically, I'm more interested in Tara than I am in Mickie James. And that says a lot considering how awful Tara has been in this thing she's doing with Jesse Godderz.
Yeah. Given the fact that I have to mute most of her segments because it's just so painful to listen to. I'm right there with you. I'm more interested in Tara right now than I am in Mickie James. Mostly because I'm thinking, how much money is TNA paying her to do this shit? Because it's not enough. I guarantee you that.
All right. We're split on this too. On Tuesday, we were basically 50-50. Live chat, I believe, is going with Mickie James. I don't know. I kind of stopped reading. I'm sorry, guys. Anyways, let's go on to the TNA Tag Team Championship match. Chavo and Hernandez taking on Joey Ryan and Matt Morgan. Let's talk about the build-up of this before we get into the actual predictions. Do you like how this match has been built up?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see really how. I mean, the only real problem I have with the build-up is tonight. I don't see how Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez, both people who are well-versed in playing dirty, I don't see how they fall victim to the oldest trick in the book. Look at me while my partner sneaks up and attacks you from behind.
Yeah, but you need that sometimes.
Yeah. I'm not saying it. I mean it. I guess it builds them more as faces and everything. But I mean, Chavo Guerrero, Hernandez, these guys are used to playing dirty. These guys have done it before a lot in their career. I just don't see how they fall victim to literally, you know, something pulled out of the beginner's guide to being a bad guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, what I'm going to say is I also like the build-up of this. You know, if you look back to how this all started, you know, really it was Matt Morgan and Joey Ryan versus Hulk Hogan. They both had a common enemy as Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan wanted to split them up, and they said, you can't split up the tag team champions. And I like that, but I like it more that they've seemed to have dropped that part of it. They have stopped focusing on the Hogan side of it and are now focusing on getting the tag team championship belts so that they can continue to stir up a ruckus. So I think how they've built this, at least on the Joey Ryan Matt Morgan side, has been great. Where this falls short is Chavo and Hernandez. I don't like anything they've done since they partnered up, and they continue to do nothing for me. I'm actually looking forward to when Hernandez turns on Chavo more than Chavo and Hernandez continue.
You want to see a border toss for Chavo, don't you?
Yeah, I want to see Hernandez, move forward and do something with his career again instead of this, which is sad because, Chavo overall should be good. I liked him in WWE regardless of how they were treating him, but it seems like he doesn't want to be there. it's obvious. Like he's not wrestling like how he used to. He's not on the mic. How he doesn't have that energy anymore. And I don't know if that's just like an age thing, but he doesn't bring it. I'm ready for them to drop the titles.
He picked up a little bit on the mic, or not on the mic, in ring tonight, but Hernandez is still doing very well in the ring. And it's hot right now. I think one of the main problems with Chavo and Hernandez is they haven't had that much time on the mic. When they do come out on the mic, I'd like to see both of them actually talk. Right now, the big thing that we're seeing, I mean, even though Joey Ryan does most of the talking for his team, Matt Morgan still talks a bit on the mic. I can't remember the last time Hernandez got on the mic and said anything was I believe, during that stupid segment that they were doing to push repo games right before Mexican America or whatever the fuck that stupid stable was broke up.
I do remember that, but I think he did have some mic time when they first partnered Chavo and Hernandez up. I think there was a little bit of mic time there, but overall, I think Chavo is lackluster. He hasn't delivered what I was hoping that he would. And Nick says it best in the live chat. He said Chavo should be much better than he is. He's the new Magnus. And I know we got some heat because we said Magnus should be better than he was. Well, you can say it again about Chavo. This is exactly right. Chavo should be better than what he's doing.
Yeah, I think the problem Chavo has right now is he's spending so much time trying to give tributes to Eddie that he's trying to turn himself into a clone of Eddie Guerrero, and Chavo Guerrero is not Eddie Guerrero. And never will be. Chavo Guerrero should stick to what he does best. And when Chavo first came to TNA, he gave this great segment and promo on the mic. He seemed like he wanted to be there. He was fired up. He was excited. And every time he's come out since then, it's just been like, yeah, okay, I'm here for a paycheck. What the hell? So I definitely agree that Chavo has to find a way to step it up. But I'm not ready to give up on the tag team just yet.
I am ready to give up on the tag teams. I really like Joey Ryan and Matt Morgan. I thought, when they first partnered up, I was totally against it. I thought it was an awful move because I thought Matt Morgan could have been used better. But they've done well together. I think it fits, especially because of how they've been pushing Matt Morgan. I think this works really well. And this answers something that we've thought that Morgan has needed for a while, and that's a speaker, a voice. He's got someone else to do his talking so that Morgan can concentrate on being a monster. And I think that's awesome, especially now that Joey Ryan is finally comfortable on the mic. So I think this is a great partnership, and I hope they continue it. And the way that they need to continue it is to get the titles on them. So I'm gonna go with Joey Ryan, Matt Morgan. Joe is with me. Lee and you, Rob, you're still gonna go with Chavo and Hernandez?
Yep. I don't. Since the Hogan era has started in TNA, I've noticed that at times TNA kind of follows the old WCW model. Good guy gets attacked and beaten down right before a pay-per-view. Good guy's going to win at the pay-per-view. The good guys, Chavo and Hernandez, got beaten down tonight. That leads me to think they're going to win. And as good as he is on the mic, Joey Ryan is not that good in the ring yet. I don't think TNA is going to give him and Morgan the title just yet. They might actually be trying to lay the groundwork, trying to build a big feud up between these two teams, have these teams go at it a couple of times, which I'd personally like to see. Maybe it'll light a fire under Chavo's ass or something.
Yeah, I'm going to say that I think Joey Ryan is better in the ring than Chavo at this point. And I know that might not be the...
Definitely.
I know that might not be the popular thing, except for with the live chat and this conversation. I think I'm validated. But yeah, I don't want to see Chavo and Hernandez together anymore, and I don't want to see them holding the titles. But I'm not totally giving up on Chavo, but I think they need to, let him do what he came here to do, and that is wrestle, the best talent that they have. So you need to push him into the other divisions. You need to either push him in the TV title for now, or you need to push him into the main event. And I think he can handle himself. So I don't know. But anyways,
and you could be right. You could have a point there. Chavo's never really been good as a tag team wrestler. He's always excelled as a singles wrestler. So if they do lose the tag team titles, I would agree with you that I'd like to see Chavo and Hernandez split up and Chavo go into singles competition. But I don't think TNA is going to take the belts off of them just yet.
All right, well, let's move on to the main event. The World Heavyweight Championship, Bobby Roode versus Jeff Hardy with the title on the line. I'm assuming it's the actual world title, not whatever Jeff Hardy brought, but maybe it's both. I'm kind of confused where they're going with this.
Actually, you know what? I hope it is both belts, because if Bobby Roode wins, he should melt down that fucking abomination that Hardy made.
I'm almost hoping that if Bobby Roode wins, he stops being like, the heel for one show, hands Hogan the title so that Hogan can throw it out of the ring again like he did the last one.
Yes. Or that we see a segment of Bobby Roode going ultra heel and walking into like a pawn store somewhere and dropping the belt that Hardy made. Like, yeah, how much can I get for this piece of crap?
All right, so we were split on this again. Half were with Bobby Roode, half were with Jeff Hardy. I'm going to explain why I'm going to go with Jeff Hardy first. Okay. Jeff Hardy just got the title. And they seem to be giving him a lot more attention, more creative control than they would anyone else. Like if you look at all the backstage segments. So, coming at this as someone who's looking at it past just storylines, I think it makes sense for Jeff Hardy to keep the title. And he's still getting great reaction. At the same time, I hate Jeff Hardy as the champion, and I don't want to see it anymore. But it's too soon. It's too soon to drop the title to Robert Roode. Although I think Roode would be a better champion as far as quality goes. But all right, so I'm going to go with Jeff Hardy just because it's too soon for them to take the title off him. He's not going to have any... Well, okay, let me take a step back because I forgot about what happened at the end of tonight's Impact. Bobby Roode bought Aces and Eights, at least for tonight, to basically take out Hardy. So I suppose it's possible that they might do that again. But I'm sorry. I'm gonna stick with. I know I'm all over the place. I'm gonna go with Jeff Hardy to retain. It's too soon, even though it should happen and it needs to happen, and I want it to happen. It's not gonna happen. So, Rob, you are the opposite. You think Bobby Roode is going to win, correct?
I do.
All right, go ahead. Explain.
First of all, Hardy's had the belt for about 2 months now, so it's not like he just won the belt. He did successfully defend the belt against Austin Aries in a ladder match.
Yeah.
After Bobby Roode, you have almost all faces that are in contention for the world title. Top among them is James Storm. James Storm versus Jeff Hardy is going to be a hard match to build up. It's going to be a hard match to really sell. James Storm versus Bobby Roode, that's already there and waiting. Then you add in what happened tonight with Roode paying aces and eights to take out Jeff Hardy, kind of soften him up a little bit. I could see TNA giving Roode the belt via shenanigans, and then you have Jeff Hardy and James Storm in a race trying to get the belt back. I think that would make for a much interesting story, because Jeff Hardy, he's going to get reaction from the crowd. Like he's going to get treated like he's the champion, whether he has the belt or not. He gets reaction no matter what. It's not like he needs the belt to push him. So I don't see TNA taking that big a loss by removing the belts. And you can do some interesting things from a storyline perspective.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still getting great reactions. Sure, you are absolutely correct. Jeff Hardy will still get those pops and still get those reactions and still sell merchandise even without the title. But why wouldn't you keep the title on him for a little bit longer? I mean, why wouldn't you take advantage of that and continue to sell merch? And maybe they come out, and maybe they already have, but maybe you have a replica title, a Jeff Hardy replica title, and sell that to the kids. Or, you sell more t-shirts with Jeff Hardy as a champion, I think, than you do with, Jeff Hardy without the title. So, I don't know. I'm still with Jeff Hardy retaining. I think
Okay.
It's too soon. But I'm with you. I want him to drop it. I hate Hardy as a champion.
And you make some good points, but again, I ask the question: if Jeff Hardy wins, what's next? Who challenges Hardy next for the title?
Put James Storm there?
Can you build a match between those two?
Yeah, and I think that would be a hell of a match. I think, the fans love James Storm still, and they're still with Hardy. So you put basically the two guys that get the most reactions out there at the same time. I think that would be a fantastic match. It would be a split crowd, most likely. So yeah, I think you could sell that match, and I think you could do really well with it. But then again, you look at if Roode wins, you could do the same thing with James Storm. However, we'd be delaying that even more because you couldn't take Hardy completely out of the the title race. You'd have to do Hardy versus Robert Roode again next month if Roode wins.
Or you do something really cool and you make a triple threat match. Bobby Roode, Jeff Hardy, and James Storm.
Sure. I mean, I suppose that could also make sense. They're all in the same race together. I don't know, but I'm sticking with Jeff Hardy retaining.
Okay. He probably will. I'll admit that my pick is half what I think is going to happen and half what I want to happen. But
sure,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but let's be fair. Jeff Hardy needs to retain so that Lee can score higher in the FTW Draft Finals. Ends this week. Ends on Sunday. So that's another reason why to go with Jeff Hardy. Okay.
Is that enough to get me to switch my vote, though?
Yes, it should be.
Yeah. Well, okay. Because Garvin says it is, I'll officially switch my vote and say that I think Jeff Hardy is going to win.
All right, so that's Final Resolution. That's the entire card. We were going in predicting 8 matches. They took it down to 7 because they combined the TV Championship match and the TNA versus Aces and Eights match. Overall there's 7 matches. We should note that James Storm, the Robbies, Kid Cash, Ion, and Kaz are not booked. So it's possible we could see a filler match added to make it a full 8. But generally speaking, pay-per-views have 7 matches. So I think that's about the average. So I think overall, the card they have is solid. Pretty much every match on here has the potential of being match of the night outside of the tag team champions. And the TNA versus Ace and Eights. I don't see much out of that just because of who's involved. Garrett and Wes Briscoe are definitely going to drag that match down.
Yeah. I mean, you've got 2 awesome fighters in Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle, and 2 just worthless fighters in Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe.
And the sad thing is we'll probably see Garrett Bischoff get the most work out of that match. Ugh. I'm not looking forward to it. Let's just say that. But anyways, yeah, we the X Division Championship match, Bully Ray versus Marky Ray and Austin Aries, AJ versus Daniels, the Knockouts Championship, and the World Heavyweight Championship. These are all solid matches outside of those 2. Does this, on paper, have the potential of ending 2012 the way TNA needs it to? Needs to end 2012, do you think?
Yeah, on paper at least, this is a solid pay-per-view. Should give TNA a lot of momentum going into 2013 and ending 2012 on a strong note. Assuming, of course, that Impact can continue producing shows like they did tonight.
Yeah, it's being said in the live chat. Robert says TNA will go out with a big bang, and I think this does it. I think this is pretty big. And let's go past tonight just for a second. Let's go past Final Resolution. We've also got Genesis on January 13th, and they're already. It seems like they're already trying to build that with these cryptic videos for December 3rd, which is 2 impacts before Genesis. So that's definitely something to look forward to. I think they're definitely moving in the right direction, but hopefully they deliver where they need to deliver.
Right.
And we see no reason why they wouldn't. I mean, they've delivered all year. They've made us happy outside of a few impacts. Overall, TNA has been solid for 2012. So, with that said, what we're doing on our Facebook page, on Twitter, we are trying to collect the best TNA moments for 2012. So, if you have a favorite moment from this year, definitely get on our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/FTW Podcast, or tweet us at FTW Podcast. Let us know what that moment is, and we'll talk about it in our year-end review show, which will be on January 1st, 2013. It's episode 146, so we still got some time to collect those, but we definitely want to hear what you guys think was the best moment for TNA this year. Rob, anything else you want to add before we say goodnight?
Not really, no.
Okay. That's it. That is the conversation tonight here on FTWLive.com. Why not check out FTWPodcast.com for more information about us and how to get involved in future episodes. We definitely love the live show. the live chat format that we have going on. Great conversations. A majority of our listeners are still coming on through YouTube or through downloading us on iTunes or the podcast RSS. But definitely, if you have an opportunity, a Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 1 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, that's when we record live. You're more than welcome to join that conversation. So for Rob, my name's Garvin, and we will see you. We'll be chatting with you on Sunday. Rob, I don't know about you, but I'm going to be in the live chat. You can chat with me while we watch the pay-per-view. Can't wait.
I will try to be in the live chat, yeah. I've got to make the live chat one of these days.
It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot less negative than Twitter is.
Good God, don't remind me.
All right, guys. Thank you again, and we'll see you Sunday. Tune in Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, and we'll talk about this Sunday's pay-per-view. So, see ya.